discover liberation just have vastly different understandings of what liberation is for.
I haven't seen this much importance and attention.
The story itself is a really wonderful, really great setup.
Tractor beam has been engaged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews on the Star Wars Underworld Podcast Network. Today is Wednesday, May the 1st. We're here. We made it to Star Wars Month 2024. It's the 17th week of comics in 2024. I actually counted, made sure that was right. It's the 17th Wednesday in 2024, so I think that's right. I don't think comics skip a week. I know Star Wars sometimes skips a week, but comics sometimes skip a week. Anyway,
They do.
or the other way around. They don't skip a week. 17th Wednesday, 2024. But it's Star Wars month. It's Phantom Menace month. It's all the above. First off, Chris, how's it going? How are you doing this week?
Well, as of today, man, I'm struggling with the feels, man, because not only did I get them at 5:30 in the morning, but then they came back for a second hit at about 11:30 in the morning. Whatever that Phantom Menace comic.
Oh yeah,
like, Star Wars. What are you doing to me, man? What are you doing to me today?
Pulling on the heartstrings.
Throw me on an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, it's true. It is a heart tug one. Do you have any big weekend plans? Here, there's a big feast festival coming up for Star Wars fans this weekend.
Yeah, there's a lot of things happening in my area. I mean, there's Philadelphia Comic-Con,
on May 4th.
Fan Expo Philly.
Yeah,
you're a good old Fan Expo guy over there in Toronto. We got the Fan Expo happening down here.
It's the same circle company. Yeah,
I've long stopped supporting them because the last one I went to was kind of a train wreck.
No.
It's like they decide to have the panels in the same area as the expo floor, and they just block it off with like a curtain. So you're hearing all the ambiance of like the loud expo hall while trying to hear like soft-spoken speakers on the mic talking. And it's just like, it doesn't work. You got all those spots in that convention. You could have, the queues going into a room, but no, they just have it. So Fan Expo, they took it from Wizard World. Ever since they went to Fan Expo, I feel like it's gone downhill. So I just figure it's worth skipping, because when you're used to New York Comic Con, and Celebration, like, I'm sorry, but that doesn't hold a candle to anything Fan Expo Philly anymore. I'm just like, no, it's not adding up. But for me, it's a hike. It's like 45 minutes to get there, another $50 to go, another $20-$30 to park it. It's like, decent amount of money you're dropping for a mediocre experience. So I'm like,
yeah, not necessarily worth it. But that's kind of odd, because I know like the Fan Expo Canada Comic Con or limited edition, the COVID Con. That's the only time they did have just the panels out and about, but that's COVID distancing and all that. That's weird that they still do kind of this old school style. It's curtain it off. They don't have.
Well, you know what? That was 2 years ago, so maybe that's what it was actually. But I heard negative reports about the Hayden Christensen panel last year. So after I heard about that, I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna go. And it wasn't his fault, but I think it was also like I didn't give it a fair shake because it was also strikes. So it seemed like it was really bad last year because like they couldn't talk about anything, and it was just like, why are we here?
Like, he straight up canceled the Fan Expo one.
Oh, okay.
Canada one for that reason. His hometown con.
Wow, yeah. But no. So I know I started on the negative foot.
Yeah.
But Saturday, well, tomorrow I'm buying tickets for Japan.
Nice. Yeah.
Hopefully, cross my fingers. Friday is going to be Phantom Menace, seeing that at 6 p.m. Then Saturday, gonna wake up and watch a couple episodes of Tales of the Empire before work, and then continue watching when I get home from work. Stop at the comic store to get my 2 free comic books, and then try to stop at the supermarket to get the True Moo blue milk, and then I'll have that and enjoy watching more Star Wars Tales of the Empire, and then play Fortnite until I just basically give up and just fall asleep, because they have a whole bunch of stuff as of today. They release all the stuff that's happening. Lego, there's a special Lego Star Wars like game mode now. I'm like, I'm gonna be all over this. Me and Joel Davis are gonna be all over this mode. Ben Hart, we're gonna be teaming up, taking down stormtroopers in the Empire Lego form. So yeah,
There we go.
there's gonna be just so much Star Wars happening over these next couple days, and it really starts today for the most part. So yeah, Star Wars week is here, everybody.
Yeah, Star Wars week is here again. Star Wars month. I'm celebrating all month, but this weekend, yeah. What am I doing? Doing this right now. Yeah, Friday seeing Phantom Menace. Saturday. So we don't get blue milk here. We don't have it in the stores, but there's a really neat cafe in town called the Grand Order of Divine Sweets. So I'm gonna go check that out, and then just because I haven't been back there in their cafe for a long time. Gonna go to a different store for Free Comic Book Day. Check that out too. Trivia, Star Wars trivia at Off World Bar. This is all Saturday, and then after trivia, going straight to our buddy Din's house for his party. DM if you really need to. Yeah, it's gonna he has his release party for it's F1053. I have it in the notes elsewhere. Baby Makes 3 Mix. I believe that's right. F1053 Baby Makes 3 Mix. Yeah, just listening to that and watching Tales of the Empire. I'm sure I'll watch Tales of the Empire in the morning. And then Sunday, Empire Strikes Back at the Fox Theater here in Toronto, here in our part of town. They just happen to be showing it.
Oh, cool.
So,
oh, sweet.
So yeah, it's gonna be a full weekend. Gonna be a full weekend. Star Wars and then full month. Yeah, Iron Cannon. We have guests lined up for the next 3 weeks. So it's gonna be just work out that way. But yeah, hopefully that works out. So, anyways, speaking of which, let's jump into the plugs. 7 minutes. That's fine. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Threads at Iron Cannon Pod and at Star Raptor StarRapter. I spelled that right. EYEONCANONPOD. That one rolls off the tongue now. Yeah, you can follow Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Chris, what are you up to on Star Raptor?
Yeah, I'm over there talking about Bad Batch. I put up like kind of a reaction of the epilogue. So if you know what's happening and want to watch that video and speculate with me responsibly in the comment section below, we're going to be jumping into our review and spoilers later on in tonight's show here. But yeah, I couldn't hold back. It's like 5 a.m. I'm like, I gotta talk about this. Let me turn on the camera and just talk to the camera and put it up to YouTube, and hopefully somebody enjoys that out there. So there you go.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I guess today with Bad Batch and Phantom Menace comic. Yeah, that's right. Everything's happening. Everything's happening. This past Monday, what did Joel and I talk about? We talked about the Jedi Council. Just different time council meetings and what the council did. We ended up talking about the Jedi generally because the way the story of the Jedi is told in part through these council meetings, and so that's why I find them so fascinating. This Monday we are rejoining the podcast area and we're talking about the Bad Batch. Is what we do. We were even talking about, as you mentioned, we're talking about the Bad Batch tonight. So yeah, check that out right here on the Star Wars Underworld channel, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Of course, tomorrow night, the flagship, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. They're definitely talking about the Bad Batch. You can guarantee it. You can bet your bottom dollar. I'm hoping to get a ticket to Celebration tomorrow. Hoping to get some pins for my mom. We'll see what happens. I may have to. I actually made dinner plans, so I'm gonna
wait. You're actually going to Celebration Japan?
I'm thinking about it. I'm catching the bug. I caught the bug. I don't know.
Oh my gosh! I was gonna ask you that, just knowing that you'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not going. I'm going to New York Comic Con or something instead. But
yeah,
and I would totally understand that. But oh man, if
I might just buy a ticket.
Tractor beam ends up at Celebration Japan, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Our first tandem thing on the internet in person, especially, was in Anaheim. So
yep.
So
well, there's after panel on the spot type of video.
We continued in
recording.
New York. So. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I figure have the option if I have to sell it on light, I can.
Hopefully. You're right. Yeah, it's like it's not gonna cost that much money, right? It's like $168, yeah, for 3 days. But like, worst comes to worst, you could always sell that. And you don't want to be in a position where 3 months ahead you're like, I want to go, and it's impossible to get a ticket.
Yeah,
just you can resell, get your money back. It's gonna be interesting for me because I'm gonna be I'm a trainer, and I train clients, hour blocks at a time. And I already told the one client I have at 7, I said, look, I wasn't going to schedule you because I have to do this thing to get these tickets. It's a big deal. And I was like, just so you know, you might not have my undivided attention at certain points. And she's like, oh, it's fine. We'll get you your tickets. I know it means a lot to you. And I was like,
There you go.
I
Well, that's good.
appreciate that. So
That's
I'm
what
going
you
to be
want.
kind of like looking at the walking man as we're going in between each sets. Like, okay, let me get my credit card. Be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah. So the reason we're okay going long on the front matter here, because there's only one comic book that came out today. But what a great comic book. Let's dive right into it. The Phantom Menace 25th anniversary special one shot. Bit of a mouthful in the title, but that's all right.
Yeah, I know, right?
Written, but
I was
what
like
can you do?
messing up saying that on my own video. I said I have to redo another take on this.
I mean, that's why I write it. That's why I type it out, Chris. It makes sense. The title just pack all the information in there. Written by Greg Pak, art by Will Sliney, colors by Guru EFX, and cover, of course, by the inimitable Philip Noto. Celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace with an all-new story. Explore the earliest days and secret inner life of Anakin Skywalker with never-before-seen revelatory stories set before, after, and between the scenes of the classic movie, featuring the dream of a Jedi, the gift of a Tusken Raider, the heart of a Gungan, and the ache of a mother, and the horror of a hero. This one, I thought at first, I had two thoughts when it started to hit the Phantom Menace scenes. And I don't read these solicits beforehand, but the Phantom Menace scenes, okay, is this going to be kind of like an adaptation? I've seen these scenes before. I'm seeing the movie on Friday. What's happening here? This is kind of like E.K. Johnson's was a Queen's Peril, which was okay. I mean, the interesting parts in that novel I thought were the original parts. This one also really added a lot. I mean, the second thought was, okay, Will Sliney, Salvador LaRocca does his thing all right, but man, Will Sliney getting the feel and the look of the screen accurate characters in comics, screen accurate moments, screen moments in comics. If get him to do more screen adaptations too. But yeah, and then looking at scenes, it's kind of also reminded me of the Revenge of the Sith novel adaptation by Matt Stover. Just adding dialogue, adding moments that give Anakin so much even more heart than usual. We don't. I think the Phantom Menace as a film is so focused on his future destiny. It's so focused on, on everything Padme's up to and Qui-Gon's up to, with Naboo and the politics and Padme's own strength of character and resolve. This one, it really was able then to take the time and focus on that whole line of nobody helps each other. Everyone, especially on Tatooine, but seeing the decline of Republic society, if you will. Just everyone turning in on themselves and being just out for themselves. And here's this 9-year-old kid, 8-9-year-old kid, who we know turns out to be, in some ways, the most selfish and yet also the most empathetic villain ever. Here he is this kid just sticking his neck out, taking the actions, helping us to understand how he thinks and feels about the pod race even more. How he thinks and feels about, how Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan talk about Obi-Wan saying he might be dangerous, but then, Anakin asking, okay, am I dangerous? Am I actually going to renege on my commitment to helping people because, I miss my mother? And then you have Jar Jar saying, no, hold on a minute. This is my two favorite moments in this. Jar Jar guys saying, hold on a minute, just because you miss your mother, just because you care about people, that's not a weakness, that's a strength. Everyone misses their mother, everyone gets scared. And so for to have, if he had more of that influence in his life, if he hadn't had the platitudes of the Jedi, of Yoda saying just let go of fear, maybe things might have turned out differently. I think ahead to his own son 60 years later or whatever, saying, confronting fear is the legacy of the Jedi, not being afraid of fear. So in doing these daring things, and then of course you see Obi-Wan's own turn here to say, yes, Qui-Gon's death was really impactful, but there's also a commitment then to training Anakin, to doing his best with him, to fostering that commitment to helping people. And it turns into, again, looking ahead, it turns into this most incredible brotherhood. Literally the novel and the short story called Brotherhood that we get, that is then the gripping tragedy in Revenge of the Sith. So all in all, yeah, like you were saying, pulling on the heartstrings, a spectacular homage to this film from 1999, 25 years ago. And Greg Pak, I gotta say, Greg Pak, he
Yeah.
continues to take
Ooh.
my favorite character,
Seriously.
period, and give us some new angles to him. The
Yeah.
probably the most one of the most well-trod characters in Star Wars, one of the most well-trod characters in fiction, certainly in the new canon. And he continues to give us these added wrinkles and added perspectives and angles. And of course, we're going to see him continue to do that on Saturday, and then on Wednesday, next Wednesday, with the Vader.
Oh yeah, he's busy, that guy.
But yeah, it's astounding. Like again, I'm not trying to pick people, creators against each other. I'm just saying, Charles Soule in 2017 run, and Kieran Gillen too, really got the character, really got it, and got the conflict within Vader. Greg Pak really seems to have it nailed, almost to another level. Especially because he's the perfect one to really carry this character home to Return of the Jedi. So to have him write this beautiful sneak peek into this character that's always, little Annie has always been there. It's just he's continued to be buried and forgotten. Vader thinks he's weak, and so he has to forget him. He comes out in the end. I think of that Mike Del Mundo variant of the Gillen Vader #1, that of the grill, and then little Annie's in the grill there.
Yeah.
I have that comic. Kind of got water damage, unfortunately, but it's bad. But
Happens.
yeah, it happens. But like I have it signed too. It's too bad. But yeah, that kind of that kind of image, that take on this character. So yeah, I was talking much. What did you think of this Phantom Menace one shot?
Oh, this was a Star Wars celebration, man. I I really got a kick out of it. And this is pretty satisfying coming from reading all the adaptations that have come out as of recently for the Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah.
And we see how and even the Thrawn stuff for the matter, like they haven't been able to deliver a satisfying adaptation Marvel in a long time, since I
On
would
that
say
note,
Solo.
and we do wonder if Jodie Hauser and her health concerns, that might have had something to do with it, but with the Thrawn alliances. But
Oh
the
yeah.
other two, yeah, the Ahsoka and the Kenobi, yeah, who knows? So anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so getting this was great, because this is exactly what I want to see. And the fact that
Hmm.
it's a little easier because Greg Pak only has to focus on the perspective of Anakin,
Mhm.
but we're seeing his whole through line through the movie, through this comic book, and he is so efficient with his time, right? Like, we've seen all these other adaptations where they have to take like 6 or 7 issues to get through the whole movie. And the man manages to do it in a $5.99 issue comic, like, so well that I don't even think twice about, oh, he needed another page here or another page there. Like, it's very economical
Mhm.
for everything contained in that one shot. And I was surprised, like you said, when it starts going into like the straight up adaptation mode. I'm like, oh no, like, did we just get like a couple pages in the front and the rest of this is just a retelling? But then it goes into the Jar Jar scene. Then it goes into stuff with a big scene,
Mhm.
which Greg Pak got to write the first meeting of Obi-Wan and Anakin after Qui-Gon's fall.
Right.
And how Anakin was, the poor kid, was just like, as you could imagine, traumatized. And Obi-Wan is just committed to Qui-Gon, committed to just, I am going to train you. I will not give up. This is what his wish was, and I will fulfill that. Very, very just optimistic. And seeing that, And just I like how it is bookended with a dream from Anakin as being a Jedi,
Mhm.
and then Shmi having that dream as well of him being a Jedi Knight with Obi-Wan at the end. Um, I loved it coming full circle with the Tusken Raider that comes
Yeah.
back to her and gives her that story, and she's like, "Oh, that's just like one of many tales I'll remember of my son." And oh my gosh, dude, I was about to lose it in the car in the parking lot. I was like, "Dude, I've already lost it once today. What the heck, Lucasfilm?" Like, Greg Pak just wrote this very poignant message, and within a couple pages of reading this issue, I said, he has got the voice of Smee and a young Annie so perfectly. Like he doesn't miss a beat. Like I just could imagine like the movie, like this is a deleted scene.
Yeah.
This is a deleted scene of the movie. And it seamlessly fits in and it comes around full circle. This is masterful storytelling in here.
Mhm.
And Greg Pak and Will Sliney, like you said, you got to give this guy credit where credit is due. I mean, he did a lot of the work with Ethan Sachs. We know those guys are working hand in hand with a couple of the theme park different miniseries, Halcyon Legacy and Galaxy's Edge, and he has done a lot with creating his own characters. But to see him do an adaptation, yeah, get this guy to do the next one. Get this guy to do Book of Boba Fett. Get this guy to do Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, whatever it is, because he does a great job of like really taking those pieces out and putting them in a very stylistic approach
Mhm.
that is very realistic approach. It's not that anime manga style. This is like that hardcore, like this is his interpretation, but it is very realistic. And I really did like that a lot. There's a lot of little details in here that when I watched the movie, it doesn't really I don't dawn on the whole idea about the chipset that blows in one's head when you're
Mm.
a slave. And they hit he hit the hammer home on that a few times where it's like, yeah, they're like the Suicide Squad, right? They get too far away,
Yeah.
Waller's gonna hit that trigger and they're gonna blow up. So
Except for
it was,
kids.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like
Yeah.
it's crazy, right? Like so that reality is there. The Anakin and Jar Jar moment. Oh my gosh, there was another moment. It's like, yeah, that he is really pulling at the heartstrings. C-3PO's in there. They even have the interspaced moments of darkness, right? There's these great colored
Mhm.
from Guru FX there of Anakin with like a red lightsaber and different flashes, and Coyote Mundi is basically the bad guy in this apparently because he keeps being the one saying like, "Oh look, he's slipping up. His mind is not where he needs it to be. This is why we don't want him here." Like he was being an antagonist to a certain degree in there. So my first impressions were this is one of those issues that I will remember fondly about. Hey, this really enhance things when I go see a Phantom Menace on Friday at 6:15 p.m. in my local AMC there. I'm going to be sitting there thinking about this. I'm going to be sitting there thinking about the Living Force and all the cool Jedi Masters that we've seen that were over there on Quen, So this is why we this is why we do this. When you have good stories like this that affect your interpretation and affect your viewing experience of the on-screen material. So yeah, I can't really say enough good things
Yeah.
about this if you haven't already noticed.
It's really great. Yeah. Um, and the mission accomplished for the I guess they figure a good chunk of people will be seeing this movie on the weekend or sometime this month. May 19th is the 25th anniversary on the day. Uh, just yeah, I mean, whenever these kinds of things come out, it's always how does it affect our viewing of the film? How does Rogue One affect the viewing of A New Hope, for example, in a different way? Um, yeah, again, Queen's Peril does a little bit, I think. This one does so much work, a whole lot of work. This one, I mean, the one thing I didn't mention, the Tusken Raider plot line that you mentioned a bit coming back at the end. The choice of a Tusken Raider specifically, because how I mentioned, I think Monday mentioning, the birth of Darth Vader is in that moment in that camp when he kills not just the men but the women and the children too. Who knows if maybe some poetic thing where the Tusken he sets free is maybe in that camp. Who knows? Probably not. But or I guess those are Jawas. I don't know. But maybe I'm confusing those. But just other species, other beings on Tatooine. Yeah, they just it's the tragedy of how he goes from a kid with his heart, who that heart itself gets distorted and anguished to the point where he basically wants to take over the empire in order to save Padme. It's still the same heart, just distorted in a way. uh I think Joel should read this comic because on Monday he talked about how the the tense kind of his grilling with the Jedi Council, and just all the words of he's dangerous and he's misses his mother and he's afraid, and uh you know and we kind of get it. They are kind of right in that way. I mean, Jar Jar says, well, hold on, that's not necessarily the case, but we see that a little bit in this comic. And then of course, yeah, Anakin speaks with the council. Joel, you should read this comic because of
Yeah.
what he was, Joel was saying, that's also where he learns to distrust the council and distrust the Jedi. And yeah, and except for Obi-Wan, but then Obi-Wan even more than anyone. In this moment, he's this scared kid who's thrust in this water world. It's not like he's Luke, who's a young adult having some kind of agency and heroism. He's just picked up, and he's what choice do you have? He's a freed slave now. Yeah, to see that shadow, I mean, I think of John Williams, Anakin's theme in Phantom Menace. There is the undercurrent, and also Across the Stars, the darker beats are there, but within this lighter theme, it's almost what gets picked up at the end with the under the mask. This kid is under the mask, as I was saying before. So this gives us lots to think about, lots to express, lots to feel, as you said. Do you have any last thoughts on this Phantom Menace 25th?
Oh man, I almost forgot one of the big things that hit and resonated with me, man, is the whole maternal son relationship, right? Of Smee and Anakin, right? You have Leia, you have Ben Solo. Yeah, so this is a big deal, right? I as somebody who's very close to my mother, that really always resonated with me because I seen this movie with my mom when I was 9 years old, and she always took me everywhere for Star Wars and everything. So seeing me as Anakin and me as my mother, and seeing it so wonderfully done in these really touching moments that were created just for this comic book, I'm like, again, like Greg Pak has hit it out of the park with capturing the voices of these very important characters, right? This is the start of the saga, and he is writing this. He is putting this in stone about these are the dreams that Anakin had. These are the dreams that Smee had. And you feel for her. You really do. When it's just her and C-3PO at the home, and she's just missing her son, as you can't imagine how hard that would be to let your son be taken away, but it's his dream. It's what he wants. And she has to understand that. So for me, I was like, wow, this is so touching. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a reminder.
Great.
Yeah, every saga has a beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It begins with this single mother on Mos Espa. So yeah, Greg Pak, tip of the water bottle. All right, I think we can move right along. Speaking of the tearjerkers, speaking of the waterworks, I'll throw this to you. Yeah, so Bad Batch finale. We won't. We can spend whatever a little bit, because I mean, Joel and I and some guests are going to talk about this again on Monday.
Oh, okay.
I know you're going to talk
And
about
I'll
this.
be talking about on Sunday.
Everyone's talking about this everywhere. We even got it in the thumbnail, but it came out today, so we'll talk about it. Bad Batch season 3, episode 15. Was called The Cavalry. Finale, series finale. It's over. It's done. What were your thoughts? What were your feels on this episode? And just maybe comment on the season and the series as a whole.
Yeah, I'm gonna quote Luke Skywalker from a little movie called Episode 8, The Last Jedi. This isn't going to go the way you think. I think that's how the line went. Because Jennifer Corbett put something like that out a couple days before, and I'm like, we always do this funny thing on Outer Rim Transmission, my podcast every Sunday, where it's like I tend to like predict what the next episode's going to be about, and I'm like, I was so dead set on my ways. I'm like, this is exactly how the finale is going to go. But I was so pleasantly surprised that like most of that stuff went a way I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to the great writing by Corbett and team. And for me, it was just the Bad Batch is over. Yeah, I'm also very sad about that. But it's crazy to me that you look at it from the outside in. I know Dominic was talking about this on the Star Wars Underworld. When the show was announced, it's like, wait, really? We're just gonna be following just some random clone troopers from a backdoor pilot in the Clone Wars? Like, really? Like, what is this gonna offer me? Like, it's gonna be dumb fun, and that's all I can really see it's gonna be. And then season 1 goes by, I'm like, okay, they got something here. Season 2, it's like, okay, they're building something. And by this finale, it's like, you actually, for me personally, I'm like, I didn't realize how much I care about these characters. I did not realize that. I'm like, holy crap, like I'm getting punched emotionally at the end there, but it's all because of the buildup. All because of the buildup that I was sometimes complaining about. Like, okay, let's pick things up. Like, there's so much setup here. And first reaction, I don't know, I'm going all over the place. I'll try to keep this succinct, but like, I was very happy to see it was over a 50-minute runtime. Because if it was going to be 20 minutes or less, I would have just instantly been like disappointed and wondering how the hell they're going to do this. But basically, long story short with this is everything had a purpose. It was very economical with the time. So many storylines were tied up very well. And as any good finale puts it, you're tying up the loose ends, but you're also introducing potentially further stories that can happen down the line. Excellent epilogue. Absolutely loved it. But overall, first impressions, we'll get into it more, but like first impression, really liked it. What about you?
So the first thing I'll say is, 50 minutes. I would have been okay with an hour. I would have been okay with another 5-10 minutes. Just to get them off of Tantus. Just to see that a little bit. Just it would be part of the push. I mean, get Wrecker off of Tantus, especially. That was a little off, but otherwise, I mean, the very much the Last Jedi. We were all Ventress, back to our pilot. We were all about this guy. Yeah, he's totally the guy in the suit or whatever. And maybe he is, maybe he doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Maybe he is. But, we're talking about tech, and anyway, all these fan speculation. And this episode was relentlessly focused on, especially on Omega, Hunter, and Wrecker. Omega, Hunter, and Wrecker. Yeah, definitely a lot of Echo, and definitely a lot of oh my gosh, what's her name? Why am I blanking on the name? The other clone,
Emery Carr.
Emery, yeah. There we go. I get one per episode, one blank per episode. But we're just relentlessly focused on Omega rescuing the kids and herself, and Hunter and Wrecker getting in, and them reuniting again, and just their journey, and then them escaping. And it was this exciting action-packed thing, but in a way that still shows character, still shows that they've made a commitment to being heroic without being overly violent and overly death-dealing, which the Empire is not. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, especially since Joel and I did that War and Peace episode. Yeah, that she launches the Zilla Beast on them. Like, that's what's happening. And that's how they get it. And the Zilla Beast then chomps down a little bit, which is kind of fun. But it was this relentlessly focused not on fan speculation, but on what they needed to do. Again, so those 5-10 minutes could have brought in some other things, but we'll have to wait and see what those are. And it's not like they're poo-pooing any kind of fan speculation, but it's it was a very fast-paced, oddly enough, for 50 minutes, incredibly fast-paced. After some incredibly slow, methodical episodes.
Yeah,
Incredibly slow. This one just was breakneck. They're getting out of there, and yeah, it was pretty thrilling. Again, it wasn't like I frankly, I don't want to say enjoyed, but I was more invested in the slower, deeper, richer episodes. I'd say I call those slower, deeper, and richer. Um, but yeah, this one definitely wrapped up the story well. I hope they're okay on Pabu. I know the Empire knows about Pabu, uh, so or at least some folks do. It's interesting also to say, yeah, um, Project Necromancer. This is the one nerd thing, kind of geeky lore thing we can say. Project Necromancer literally up in flames for now. We know, obviously, what Pershing is doing with Grogu. We know, well, we have a sense at least. We know what Palpatine's doing on Exegol ultimately. But at this point, this is this major setback, and that Omega is then free to do her thing. Lay low on Pablo, and then yeah, she name drops the rebellion. She's Grow Mega. I'm gonna call her Grow Mega. Older Grow Mega in that epilogue. So yeah, I want more story filled in there. I hope they don't lay low on Pablo. I hope they don't just stay out of the fight. But it's very reminiscent of Rebels, right? How a bunch of them stay on Lothal, or at least Sabine does, right? And kind of stays out of the fight. So we'll see.
Yeah. For me, what was really exciting, I know that like what kind of pivoted me forward in this episode that kept me really engaged on the edge of my seat was the telegraphing that the Bad Batch were going to die on several occasions. Like right from the get go, it's like Wrecker does not look good. I'm like, I said it out loud. I was watching, they're dead. Like there's too many telegraphing between Crosshair's arm going crazy, hand going crazy. Then you have Wrecker kind of leaning up, like I'm not gonna make it. Blah 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 blah. Stuff going out with the CX clones. It was just like so well done with the suspense where I was bought in on them totally dying. Like I know people are like, no, they'll never kill off the Bad Batch. Like, oh, they're dead. They're dead meat within the first 10 minutes. So they're not getting out of this alive. This is a Rogue One situation. And then the CX clones showed up. I'm like, yeah, these guys are gonna wipe the floor with them. Like these guys are already wounded. These guys are fresh and trained and biologically engineered and all this stuff. Like they don't stand a chance. So to see that the script flipped on that was pretty awesome. And remind me, who got their hand cut off? I know Joel's talking in the chat. I remember that part. Who lost the hand?
I thought Hunter does, but then I thought the knife, but then that was my wonder: is that Tech turning or something? Because I said later on he still has both hands. So I think there are some sort of continuity things that feel Crosshair loses his hand.
That makes sense because he was resting his rifle on the shoulder of Hunter to get that shot off on Hemlock.
Yeah. So I mean, I think in the rapid fog of war, and just again this whole thing of get them off of this planet, not off the top.
Yes.
Some things are not as clear, and so I mean that makes for a bit of a what's happening viewing experience. So yeah, I mean, so what I'm getting at is this is in a season of 10s out of 10s. This is my first 9 out of 10. Is I'll say that, but I need to watch it again. It'll be clear.
This is my first 10 out of 10 for the whole series. I think. Yeah. There's one point I'll dock it from is the way they killed off Scorch. They should just never put Scorch in the show. In my opinion, the guy was completely wasted. Like he's supposed to be a badass Republic commando from like books and dozens of hours, and he just gets shot down like nothing. Like it was like okay, but I mean, other than that, like I love the fact that they stuck their guns with the Bad Batches, not needing backup, not having reinforcements by Rex, because I totally wholeheartedly would expect. They said something about, oh, you'll get the communications gun, we'll get Rex. And I'm like, he's going to swoop in, save the day. But that would have been a disservice to the Bad Batch as a series, as the set of characters. Like, no, these guys are commandos. These guys are that good that they can somehow infiltrate this top secret facility and cause this much havoc and damage.
Right.
And there's so many cool elements, like the part with Nalase and Rampart, and just
Yeah.
really
Up in
sacrificing,
flames.
just blow the whole place to smithereens with Rampart. Like, damn, that's why I was like, this is some Andor stuff right here. This is
Yeah.
some dark Star Wars stuff that's like for the rebellion, you know.
Yeah. Again, I need to watch the episode again, and then I'll bump it up to 10 out of 10. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I was just taking a sip of my coffee in the moment. I don't know.
And then
Something like that. But
yeah, there's so many things. Like the
yeah.
whole idea of me getting the clone uprising scene I've wanted to see
Yeah.
for freaking years. Like
Sure.
that's where this show was always going in my head, was like, we're gonna see the clones taking down the stormtroopers, and it's like, yes, we're finally there, you know. And I hope to see more of that. I hope that whatever the next iteration of this upcoming series, that we'll deal with Echo. We'll deal with not Mayday. I always forget the guy with the hair. What's his name? Something with an H. I think his name is something with an H. What?
Not Havoc.
No.
I forget.
The guy from Ryloth that has.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you got so many clones now
Mhm.
that are up in the air that we haven't seen in Rebels. Almost expecting another series to be set between Rebels or something. But yeah, you got that going on. The Zilla Beast was really cool. Everything with this with Omega. But yeah, I mean, even that ending part, like we get closure on the clones where it's Hunter sitting there at the end as we start to slowly darken and pan out to the epilogue, where it's just like we could be whatever we want to be, essentially. Like we are not beholden to being these soldiers anymore.
Right.
And I know we were talking about like, oh, what's gonna pull them out to fight. I like the idea that there's people that have a choice to be like, no, I fought enough. And that's what he said. Like, we fought in this war enough. Like, we're done. We could just relax. We got our happy ending. Like, that's fine. I'm gonna just do this, you know?
Yeah.
So I respect the idea that, yeah, it's Star Wars, right? But we don't have to be in war all the time. It's great to see characters just basking in the sun, enjoying, and finally getting that freedom that they deserve.
That's true. Like, they don't have to be soldiers. And we know the Empire is going to be on the run or hunting them down, especially if they're not, if they've broken Order 66 and I'm guessing like Order 66 is just broken at that point. Like the chip just isn't doing its thing anymore.
Yeah.
For some of them, they're all going to Pantora or wherever else. I like the idea of it. Definitely, I mean, and it makes good on the promise of the Clone Wars series, which started off, Attack of the Clones. They're just these white armored monoliths, and then we go through that series, and they become characters in their own right very quickly overall. And then this, of course, continues that, especially with the Bad Batch. Remember, they're clones. Remember, they're also engineered to be kind of above and beyond, even though they're considered the Bad Batch. So that's probably why they are a match for the CX clones. I call them droids. Yeah, they all become characters in their own right, and just as free, but also just as much in the peril of the Empire as everyone else too, and fighting for that choice just as much as everyone else. So that's why it is important at the end, the epilogue, that Hunter stays in the cave. I mean, he's elderly. I don't know how well he can fight at that point. Omega, she's going off. She's doing her thing. We know Boba Fett is quite able as a bounty hunter at that point. So clearly, Omega definitely capable of being a pilot for the rebellion. We don't know when that scene is set.
I gotta know.
It does point out to say they have the freedom to do one or the other, and to step out and contribute as they deem fit. And Omega is able to do that, and that's the most natural thing in the world. I can kind of my head canon is she's definitely linking up with Hera, connecting with Hera.
Oh yeah,
because
they're both pilots. They would get along, and then Hera could teach her a thing or two. Somebody that was commenting on my video said, I would love to see her like link up with Shara Bay. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Imagine her flying an A-Wing around in Green Squadron in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Like,
So-
imagine Omega having an influence on Poe. Like, come on.
Oh man.
Uh,
Oh man.
just fan speculation. Yeah, well, here's the interesting thing. So the episode itself refuses to help us with speculation, but we're doing it anyway.
I love another bit of speculation. The idea that they don't destroy Mount Tantus on Wayland. I mean, the idea that seems
Yeah.
like a tease for something. The idea that Grand Moff Tarkin, I was so shocked. I was so surprised he didn't just orbital bombard the whole place so that it's
Like
compromised,
Camino.
destroy it.
Yeah.
Instead, he goes in there and he's retrieving all this stuff. First of all, that's our first look at a Star Destroyer this early in a Star Wars property, right? This is like a year or two after Revenge of the Sith. So I was always expecting to see some TIE fighters flying escort to that thing at that point. So, but it was cool because you see the Star Destroyer, but then you also see it flanking a Venator class Star flanking it. So that was neat because I'm like, this looks like this could be fertile territory for another creator down the line.
Yeah.
To like whether it be like post Return of the Jedi, like that's more the Heir of the Empire storyline, right? Where it's like, okay, you're gonna go back there, somebody's gonna find something that wasn't completely deleted and carry on Project Necromancer in some fashion or some way.
I mean, well, and we know even in Mandalorian, what seems like Project Necromancer with Pershing, he's connected to the Kaminoans as well. So, I mean, Lucasfilm probably has this whole thing mapped out somewhere in this secret vault that we never should see. We want to see them in stories. I keep maintaining this. Stories that kind of seed things, and then maybe in 40 years, Chris Kemchell can write a book saying, "What is Project Necromancer?" Or Kristen Baver or somebody write a whole thing. But
I'll agree with Joel Davis. My guess is maybe after the Battle of Yavin. I think that epilogue could be past that point. When somebody says the rebellion, like the way she said it, my head goes to, okay, like they destroyed the Death Star. This is the rebellion. Like it is full blown. It's not little skirmishes. But I mean, I guess they could technically say it was after Ezra's call to action and Rebel Season 1, because that would alert the whole galaxy, like, hey, there's this overall thing going on. But me personally, I would just love to see another animated series, but like in the original trilogy timeline between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. Because selfishly, I just want to see Han, Leia, and Luke in a Clone Wars style animated form, any animated form. That would be so fun. Like imagine a Clone Wars anthology-esque series where you could have like the 4 episodes about Asajj Ventress with the Hidden Path. You could have 4 episodes with Hera training Omega, or them flying together. You could have 4 episodes of Luke and Han and Leia in some storyline in between the comics that we didn't see, or something like that. So,
or not worry too much about the comics. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tales of the Rebellion. We're getting Tales of the Empire on Saturday, so Tales of the Rebellion. It's only logical. I mean, I will say, Luke in A New Hope says, the rebellion against the Empire, so it's already a singular thing, and I don't think the Battle of Scarif is kind of it's kind of happening at the same time, but so that you can get around the comics by not having Luke and Leia, at least as major characters. They would, and that would track with what these animated spaces have done. Is the not Clone Wars, Anakin and Obi-Wan, but with Bad Batch and Rebels, Han or Leia is just a cameo, right? I guess the Alliance for the Republic, with Mon Mothma call the going to the meeting.
Yeah.
But who knows what they call the rebellion? I don't know what that. Well,
I'm also,
who knows what Omega's thinking? What she's
I'm also very curious about who's giving them information. It's got to be Echo. I would imagine Echo's like the uncle, right? Like they'll see him once every 6 months or something. He'll fly his ship over there and be like, all right, here's what me and Rex are doing, blah, blah, blah. Like there's this big rebellion movement. And then Echo's like, okay, one of these days I'll join it, and she gets old enough or something like that.
No.
Yeah, Echo or Rex is going to be their contact. I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, and we know Rex is part of the rebellion eventually. Echo, I mean, that's the thing. Echo, what we see in the Clone Wars arc, all his Borgifications, that could make him age more or age easier. Like he might live longer. So
True.
lots of fun speculation, speculating hopefully responsibly. Again, interestingly, off of a story that did not lend much to any of our speculations from before, because we haven't mentioned Ventress or anything at all. She didn't show up. I was given the title. I was kind of like, is Fennec Shand going to come in here? Because
Yeah.
it's a fun nod to her Agents of Shield character. If you get that reference, let me know. Drop the Captain America gif if you get that reference. Steve Rogers. No, not Steve Rogers, but what's her Agent May? Nicknamed the Cavalry.
Yep.
So, but no, they didn't. The Cavalry is the Zilla Beast. No, I'm just kidding. There you go. All right. I think I don't know. Do you have any last thoughts for now on the Bad Batch?
Yeah, I'm sad to see it go, but I think it's gonna stand itself in time as one of the best Star Wars animated series. I really do. I think it's better than Resistance. And yeah, it's up there with Rebels, man. I don't know. I might like this more than Rebels.
I mean, I know I like it more than Rebels, but I don't
Okay, okay. Well, I'm not going crazy then. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Clone Wars is my favorite. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know if it's better than that. I don't think it is, but yeah, this is especially this last season. This season 3 might be the tightest season of animation Lucasfilm has ever done. Every episode was like an 8 or more for me out of 10. Everything just crushed it. They had a purpose. There was a beeline for a certain ending. And again, they answered like 90% of the questions. They had one little slip up with Scorch, and other than that, it was damn a perfect episode if I've ever seen one, for me personally.
And the season, forget animation. Like this is as tight as Mandalorian season 2 and Andor season 1. This is it's up there in terms of its consistency, in terms of the depth. Again, use that phrase. In terms of what it contributes to the wider lore, but the focus on character and the focus on where it moves.
There you go.
Yeah. In terms of as a season of objectively as storytelling, Clone Wars. I think Clone Wars was just a different structure, and Rebels was a different structure. Bad Batch seasons 1 and 2, different structure. This was one consistent story. Yeah, jumped around with different aspects of it, but definitely, one of among the tightest they've ever done. So, yeah, again, forget animate, not just animated.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. My emotions, my feels go for Ahsoka and go for Clone Wars season 5 and 7, but again, different structure. So, do that. All right, I think we'll save the rest for our other podcasts. we said a lot, but hopefully have more systematic breakdowns of the episode of the season, whatnot. So yeah, stay locked on Outer Rim Transmissions and Star Raptor and here across the Underworld network for everything, all our coverage of this. The Wonky Clones show, not the Space Road show, the Wonky Clone show. Coming back to comics. We have an interesting week coming up in comics. Well, first of all, I'll say Star Wars Adjacent. There was a Star Wars Adjacent comic that came out last week, picked up this week. Charles Soule's Shrouded College, Bloody Desert #5, Zombies in Space, Vampires in Space. And a fun, heartwarming family story about vampires in space. So check that out from Image. Releasing not next week, but this week, releasing Saturday. So I'll do this week. Free comic book day, free Star Wars comic book.
Yeah.
The ongoing Vader mashup by both Charles and Greg Pak, Charles Soule and Greg Pak. And then Young Jedi Adventures with DJO and I forget who does that. Was the guy who, well, I guess who does, like, the creators of Star Wars Adventures, like the hyperspace stories and all that.
Cecile Castellucci.
One of them. I forget.
There was the other one.
Yeah,
Amanda, maybe.
I should actually
Eva?
write that in. Who does this? But yeah, definitely some nice gifts. Star Wars the gifts for you. These will cost you $0 if you go into a comic book shop and you ask them. So definitely check that out. Of these, what are you looking forward to here?
Oh, definitely Star Wars. I mean,
Ongoing.
this is a monumentous occasion because the Star Wars Vader mashup.
Yeah.
I've been disappointed that every year up until now we haven't had an official Marvel Star Wars free comic book day. It's always been IDW or Dark
Really?
Horse,
Yeah.
right? No, not
Oh,
with Canon. We haven't had anything, at least with Canon.
Actually, we didn't have a High Republic. Marvel High Republic.
No, I'm pretty sure it was IDW.
Might have been our Adventures. Yeah.
And
Well,
and
yeah.
and it's going to be a very important issue from what I imagine, because like the end of those other issues we read said, oh, the next issue that you got to pick up is free comic book day. It's not no like
Mhm.
one off. This is going to be part of the overall story from the sounds of it. So, and the fact that they're going back to Hoth, the fact that they're going back there is cool. We're going to get some closure, some resolution on some things that might have happened there. So, seems like it's going to be an important chapter for both books.
Yeah, you have to go back to Hoth in order to get to Exegol and then to Endor, among other things. Also Nubs in comic book, Padawan Court in a comic book. So I guess this is Young Jedi Adventures me set before Phase 1. I'm guessing, kind of. I mean, that's when the show is set. So, yeah, getting more High Republic content there. And then speaking of which, High Republic, and speaking of Vader, next week, releasing on Wednesday next week, Vader number 46 and High Republic number 7. Yeah, I mean, of these two, oddly enough, both of them are picking up on the final leg of a story, but one is what, 10 issues and one is 50 issues. So getting, the Vader isn't kicking into high gear. But High Republic, we're getting to the meat of Keith's story even more. So yeah, I'm kind of a top. I mean, I guess so. I'm gonna be weird. I'm gonna go against my tendency, and I'm looking forward to the Vader here a little more, just because of the proportion in terms of how climactic this is. I mean, we know Joel should go read this book. This go next. Maybe it's go next. Of these two, which are you looking forward to more?
Yeah, definitely the Vader one, because we're gonna see the raising of Exegol, as they call it, and you got the whole droid army backing Vader, and he's got the Lambda class shuttle that is now coated in kyberite, I guess, to be able to get past the security or the shield that's around the planet or whatever it is. So everything is coming to a head.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what happens in that, because it's gonna really play into. I hope we see that like endless transition.
Yeah.
Like Vader is coming back from Exegol as he goes to the Death Star or something like that. In Return of the Jedi, as we see him.
Yeah, probably just straight beeline. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, that's why why he's all kind of that's Piet, right? Or is it Veers? George. Why don't I know this? I'm doing trivia on Saturday.
Oh man.
Shoot. Yeah, I know it's George. There we go. Also, I did get my issue of Insider today, so we can keep up with the Adrens next week as well. So yeah, we got 5 books to talk about. It's gonna be fun. We've done that before. There we go. All right. Let's we've mentioned this a number of times. Chris, another great episode, keeping it to an hour. There we go. Where can people find you on the internet, and what are you been up to?
You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/StarRaptor, as my light runs out of battery right over there. Perfect timing for that to happen. Half cast is shattered. But yeah, you can see me on youtube.com in a little brighter way here. And I'm going to be talking about Bad Batch. I already have talked about Bad Batch, but I will be talking about upcoming comics and more crazy Star Wars news and stuff. I'll be talking about that later, I'm sure, especially with High Republic and all that. So you go check that out there.
Mhm.
You can check out my writing, my blog over at starraptor.substack.com for another Star Wars story that I'm going to be putting up there very shortly. And you can find me talking about Star Wars video games, skateboarding, and more over at Twitter. Just same handle, Star Raptor. But thank you for having another great show with me. It's fun, as always.
Always a good Wednesday when we get talking about both Phantom Menace and Bad Batch. It's pretty cool. It's a prequel's paradise. I'm telling you guys.
Yep.
Especially this month. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, NAUG45, Instagram and Threads, I'm NAUG1138. Yeah, I'm gonna be, I've talked a lot about Taylor, but it's Phantom Menace month. It's Phantom Menace month. Let's go. Let's go. Probably talk about the Oilers in a little bit. The Edmonton Oilers, but got some hockey content here, sports content. But yeah, it's I'm excited to kick into high gear, the great high feast of Star Wars fandom. May the 4th coming up, and this a fun weekend. So check me out there, of course, right here on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel. Also, by the way, I should more plugs. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Join us on Discord, Underworld Discord, where you guys can talk about video games and play, and you guys are like having game nights and all that fun stuff, movie nights and whatnot. So just chatting away about Star Wars, chatting away about Bad Batch. There's a spoiler chat. If you dare to go in there now, go for it. In the Discord, the link is in the description below. Yeah, and then of course 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel. We are talking about the Bad Batch. Well, also we can talk about Tales of the Empire. We're going to try and have a good old combo burger, as my priest likes to say, combo burger. It's a fun thing. So yeah, check that out right here. Of course, you can follow us at Ion Cannon Pod, EYEONCANONPOD on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Or Joel's tweeting up a storm about a whole bunch of stuff, interesting stuff. And yeah, so keep on checking us out. And then of course, hopefully you find yourself at a comic book store this Saturday to check out Young Jedi Adventures and ongoing Vader mashup. Again, for now, if you go to a con, you see there's a con in a few months, they're going to cost $10. And in 3 years, they're going to cost $50. But for now, they're going to cost you $0. Doesn't matter if you're Canadian, American, whatever. It's free. Comic Book Day means free. Is a celebration of the comic book industry.
Yeah.
Celebration of these stories. Get yourself in the door of a comic book store.
And make sure you pick up, something as well to you want to support the local shops, right there. Without them, we wouldn't be having this show. Without them, half the content on my channel wouldn't even be happening because I talk so much about the comics, right? So go ahead, buy yourself a trade paperback. Heck, why not buy an omnibus? Buy
an
Star
action
Wars
figure.
Collected. Yeah, anything, right? They even sell skateboards at my place. I'm gonna go ahead and buy a skateboard deck on Saturday. Even though I go every week, I'm still gonna pay for something because it's just it's a nice thing to do. So anyway, go there, go support your place, and maybe open up a box and go there weekly, and then you'll be able to participate with us here every week on the live chat.
They are small businesses, is the thing. These aren't. Yes, Disney, Marvel is a major corporation. Yes, Dark Horse is a sizable corporation. Your local comic book shop is a small business, so do support them. Support your local area, your local community. And what? First place to start next Wednesday. Go pick up and buy these comics. We had number 46. High Republic number 7. They should sell Insider. They usually sell Insider at some comic book stores. You can also subscribe online, so check that out. Definitely get yourself in the door. It's the comic book fandom has improved drastically, I hope, over the last few years. It's diversified over the last few years, especially in Star Wars. With all the different characters, all the great books. So free Star Wars Comic Book Day is a great place to start. And then Wednesday, get the pull list, Vader number 46, High Republic number 7, Insider, etc. But until then, Chris, let's happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. and happy reading.
May the fourth be with you always.